Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Gopal Krishna Krishna Mutane Prabhupada Sesaitam Prakasha Bhakti Saram Vikasara Patana Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamvayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang Shri Gurung Vaishnavam Sha Shri Rupam Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Shindo Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Bol.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for agreeing and visiting our small center here and encouraging us and preparing us, the mood for the Gaur Purnima. And Gaur Purnima is a really very important festival. It's only by the mercy of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu we are able to practice Krishna consciousness. And we are very, very fortunate to hear from you, Maharaj, on this occasion.
It's my privilege to be with you this evening.
Allow I can give a short introduction of yours to devotees who are there. Although you are known to everyone, like your face of Vrindavan to our ISKCON devotees, but nonetheless. His Holiness Bhakti Anugraha Janardan Swami Maharaj was born in Philippines. While he joined Krishna consciousness movement before he went to Canada. And that was after he finished his studies. He received his first initiation in January 1985 in Toronto, and it was in Toronto that he started his services. For 13 years as a book as a vice president, and then for the last 2 years he was serving as a temple president. Thereafter he moved to India in 1997, just the inauguration of Delhi Temple, the east of Kailash Temple. He was there in Delhi and he served there for 5 years as a vice president, as lead of Brahmachari Ashram, moving to Vrindavan in 2002. So it's almost been 20 years for Maharaj to be in Vrindavan. And And we know like Maharaj in Vrindavan has served again in different, services. He has handled like being the vice president, handled Chari Ashram, festival coordinator, and was awarded sannyas uh, in the last Ekadashi of Kartik in 2013. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. And as a sannyasi, travel across the globe, specifically in South Africa, Mauritius, Russia, North America. In Philippines, Maharaj is a zonal supervisor under the GBC, His Holiness Girdhari Swami. And currently, Maharaj is also serving as a co-president of ISKCON Vrindavan Temple. So he has many services which he takes along with his extensive preaching responsibilities. So we are very, very fortunate and lucky to have His Holiness Bhakti Anugraha Janardan Swami Maharaj with us today. Thank you very much, Maharaj, for taking out your time.
Hare Krishna. Yes, so day after tomorrow will be most auspicious day for all the devotees in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, being the appearance day of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. We were just in Mayapur, and there were about 4,500 devotees, ISKCON devotees, I would say like solid followers of Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who attended the parikrama. That was about a week ago or so. And usually they have like different groups, but now they only put everyone in one group. So it's a little bit hectic. But nevertheless, they went to many places where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his pastimes, Lila, and just recently finished the Kirtan Mela also. It was a big festival because it was the 50th anniversary of the installation of Sri Radha Madhava, the Chota Radha Madhava, the Utsav deities. Also 50th anniversary of the service of Janadivas Prabhu, the Pujari of Sri Radha Madhava. Also, it is the 100th year when Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur instructed Srila Prabhupada in Ultadanga Road about the instructions to preach to the English-speaking world. So it was very, very memorable. So I just turn on the AC a little bit here because it's really, really cold. Is it too noisy for you?
No, Maharaj, it's audible, Maharaj.
Is it okay?
Yes,
It's okay, Maharaj.
All right. Otherwise, I'll be like a little suffocating in my small office here. Yes, so today's topic that was given to me, asked to be speaking about the Ramananda Rai Sambad. This is Sambad means conversation. And the Teachings of Lord Chaitanya book that was written by Srila Prabhupada, based from Chaitanya Charitamrita, most of the conversations there actually are instructions, siksha. It's like Sanatan Siksha, Rupa Goswami Siksha. Siksha means instructions of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu towards his devotees, like Rupa Goswami or Sanatan Goswami. But in this specific story, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Ramananda Roy in South India, being also asked by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, whom Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met in Jagannath Puri. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chose that to be his main base or headquarters after taking sannyas. The first 24 years of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's life was spent in Navadvip, and then by the request of his Mother Sachi, after taking sannyas, that to be closer with her, then she asked if Jagannath Puri could be the headquarters. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very humbly followed the request of his mother. So the last 24 years, mainly Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is based in Jagannath Puri, but 6 years of that he did traveling all over India, specifically in South India or holy places. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also came to Vrindavan. So Ramananda Roy is a governor in that area of Visakhapatnam, under the ruler or the king, Maharaj Prataparudra. He's a very, very highly elevated soul. Is what you call Mahabhagavat. He's an Uttama Bhakta. But he considered himself as a Sudra. Even though, because due to his work as like a governor, so he considered himself as not very qualified. But nevertheless, Ramananda Roy is an eternal associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Lord Krishna, more his combined form of Radha and Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna, Nahi Anya. So, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in the spiritual world, there is the topmost planet, Goloka Vrindavan, and still there is a division where Lord Krishna, along with his eternal associates, perform his pastimes. And there is another part of Goloka Vrindavan, called also Swetadweep, where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his lila, or pastimes. And there are expansions of the eternal associates of Lord Krishna in that place, in Navadvip, or Setadweep. That when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to the material world, he comes once in one day of Lord Brahma. Same with the Lord Krishna, he comes also once in one day of Lord Brahma. One day of Lord Brahma is quite lengthy, 4.6, something like that, 4.6 billion years. So it's quite lengthy according to our time scale. So Ramananda Roy is none other than Vishaka. Just like Radha and Krishna, they're most intimate servants, especially Radharani, her Sakis or cowherd girlfriends, assistants, Lalita and Vishaka. And also, therefore, Vishaka is very dear to Lord Krishna because they assist in the pastimes of the eternal couple. So, Ramananda Roy, in eternal Leela of the Supreme Lord in Goloka Vrindavan is Vishaka. And some says also She is Arjunia Gopi. Because the mood. It's like the eternal associates of the Supreme Lord. In Gaura Lila, they have different personalities are being kind of like combined because of the mood that they are exhibiting. Just like Haridas Thakur is a combined form of Prahlad Maharaj and Lord Brahma. Because of the mood to save the conditioned souls, Haridas Thakur is like that. And spreading Krishna consciousness, very compassionate. Prahlad Maharaj is like that mood, and Lord Brahma as well. So, Ramananda Roy is very exalted personality. He is not an ordinary conditioned soul like us. And when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he accommodated Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. We visited that place also, the place of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He asked to meet this person, Ramananda Roy. When he travels to South India, he says, you must meet this personality because he's a very, very advanced devotee. And you'll be able to understand more and be able to converse with him in a level where not general devotees are able to comprehend or understand. See, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he has 3.5 personalities whom he confidentially converse. There is some intricate, very deep subject matters that cannot be discussed in public. And Ramananda Roy is one of them. Sarup Damodar is one of them also. Sarup Damodar being the secretary, personal secretary of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he took all the notes written by Raghunath Das Goswami also, and Swarup Damodar Goswami. So Krishnadas Goswami, that's how he wrote the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So the story of the meeting, conversation, this Ramananda Rai Sambad was mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishnadas Kaviraj writes in the Madhya Lila of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 8. So we will read some parts of that. It is not enough. We don't have enough time to really go into so much details about this conversation because it's quite long, and even just one topic we can spend. I've read in some devotees who gave classes on this Ramananda Roy Sambad, like 3 or 4 parts. It's like 2 hours each. So, and we don't have enough time. We only have like 45 minutes, not even that. So, but we will try to at least try to summarize and get into the most important parts of the conversations. And in your free time, you can further read because Prabhupada gave so much elaborate purports on this topic or on this story. So I will go to the chapter 8. Yes, because when they met, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first, he was going to different temples in South India, and he passed by to this one Nisingha temple. Now one may say, why is it that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Krishna? Then why does he have to visit all of these different temples, sometimes even temples of Lord Shiva, And at this time he was visiting temple of Lord Nrsimhadev. Even though he is Purna Bhagavan, as Srila Prabhupada says, there is no difference between Lord Krishna, Lord Ram, Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Nrsimhadev. They're all equal in power, in potency. They're absolute Swayam. Of course, Lord Krishna is Purna Bhagavan. He is the source of everyone and everything, Sarva Karna Karnam. But in the Vishnu Tattva category, this personalities, supreme personalities of Godhead, Lord Krishna, Lord Ram, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nrsimhadev, they're all in equal potency. Others also they are, but not to the unlimited degree like this we mentioned. So the Goswamis or the Acharyas explains that because he's so full also, he wanted to experience more in ecstasy, and whenever he goes to these different temples, his ecstasy increased more. He appreciates more, especially the devotees who are visiting in these different temples, the love that they have for these different deities or incarnations of the Supreme Lord. So it says that he would travel, but then no particular direction he wished to go. But somehow or other, he ended up in this place near the Godavari River. And here, many people also came for darshan and for taking bath. But then he decided himself to move along to a secluded place where he will be able to chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Because he thought that if I do it here, I may not be able to fully focus or concentrate on the holy name. So when he went to one secluded place, this is near the riverbank of the Godavari River, there is this personality also, dressed in a very royal way, and surrounded by singers and surrounded by brahmanas, Vedanta, brahmanas, Vedic brahmanas, who are chanting mantras. This is the tradition, especially in those days. Those who have some kind of position, then they will not travel alone. They will travel with his entourage, and he is accompanied by his special associates to give him the mood, the proper mood. And this is none other than Ramananda Roy. So as soon as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Ramananda Roy, within his mind he figured out, this must be Ramananda Roy. So within his heart, he wanted to run towards him, but physically he was just sitting down. He did not move. But within his heart, it's like he wanted to run as fast as possible to meet his eternal associate. And somehow or other, Ramananda Roy also, he took a bath, and then he saw Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and they saw each other. They met each other, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, "Are you Ramananda Roy?" And then Ramananda Roy says, "Yes, this is your servant. I'm just a Sudra, and I'm your servant, humble menial servant." He admitted that he is Ramananda Roy, even though he's a governor. And for a sannyasi to meet a seemingly a worldly man, because government official, governor, that means they're more involved in worldly activities, in politics and so on. And for a renunciate, sannyasi, he does not have anything to do with them. But because of the instruction coming from Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to meet this personality, You will gain so much knowledge from him that when they met each other, Ramananda also recognized that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a very, very exalted personality. That Haribol, Hare Krishna. Okay. That he was very effulgent, like 1,000 suns shining all at the same time, the effulgence of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's body. Of course, this is not like the effulgence, like if you see a bright light and it goes through your eyes, you become like, disturbed or shaken. But the effulgence of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so bright, at the same time, it is very soothing to the eyes. It's very, very pleasant to see. It's like in the middle of the day, you look at the sun, you cannot look at the sun directly, right? It will even hurt your eyes. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's effulgence is so bright, but it's very pleasing and soothing to the eyes. So when they met each other, they saw each other, they started to embrace each other. Now the Vedic Brahmanas, the assistants of Ramananda Roy, they were surprised. Who is this? Who is this sannyasi? How come he is embracing our Lord? This is not proper. Sannyasi, renunciate. This is not according to the Shastra. Cannot be done. If you remember the story also of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when Maharaj Prataparudra, he wanted to have a darshan of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, "No, I don't want to see him." That is in Jagannath Puri, because Maharaj Prataparudra wanted to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, "No, I don't want. This is not the business of sannyasi." But here is different. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately wanted to see, and they fell into ecstasy. Both of them started to cry. The Astaka Baba, this 8 symptoms of emotions. One who is in love, the hair stands on end, started to cry. All of these things started to happen to them, that somehow they control themselves. They control themselves, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was invited by one Brahmana in the area. Usually Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will not accept an invitation if the one who is inviting him is not a lakpati. Not lakpati of rupees, but lakpati means he's chanting 100,000 times the holy name of the Lord. He will accept. And then Ramananda Rai says, "Yes, please stay for 5 to 7 days. Stay for 5 to 7 days, and would like to meet each other more." And they agreed upon the next day that they will talk more conversation, because what they're going to talk is not meant for public. It's not meant for public. What they're going to speak upon will be very, very intimate, and if it's been spoken in public, then they may not be able to understand. So they agreed upon to meet at the same place the next day, but in more in a privacy. And the next day, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Ramananda Roy, and Ramananda Roy only brought one servant with him the next day. So in this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, both of them, they can understand. Ramananda Roy, he knew that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than the Supreme Lord also, because he's very highly elevated. He's a Mahabhagavat himself. So, but then, in the start of the discussion is that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Roy to recite a verse from the revealed scripture. This is on text 57, concerning the ultimate goal of life. This is the first instruction, or the first request. He ordered, it says, ordered Ramananda Roy. And Ramananda Roy replied that if one executes the prescribed duties of his social position, he awakens his original Krishna consciousness. So now, he wanted to understand what is the goal of life, the ultimate goal of life, according to the Shastra. And Ramananda Roy is very well versed in the Shastras. So he began with saying that following the Varnashram Dharma. Because the Varnashram Dharma is the process whereby one is engaged according to his guna and karma. According to the qualities that he acquired and according to the activities that he performed, then he is engaged in a particular activity to ultimately serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he rejected this. He didn't accept this. Even though many verses were quoted by Ramananda Roy. It's like text 58, it says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is worshipped by the proper execution of prescribed duties in the system of Varna and Ashram. There is no other way to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One must be situated in the institution of the four Varnas and Ashram. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he did not really accept this. He says in text 59, Prabhu kahe eho baya age kaha ara. This is external. You had better tell me of some other means to attain the goal of life. And then Ramananda Roy replies, Rahe Raya kahe Krishna karmarpana sarvasajya sara. He replies, to offer the results of one's activities to Krishna is the essence of all perfection. And then a verse was quoted by Krishnadas Kaviraj also, and Ramananda Roy noting it down in the Bhagavad Gita. There's a verse in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 27. Yat karosi yat asnasi yat johosi dadasi yat tapasyasi konteya tat kurusva mad arpanam. Again, mad arpanam. Do it as an offering to me. Ramananda Roy says, my dear son of Kunti, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer in sacrifice, whatever you give in charity, and whatever austerities you perform, all the results of such activities should be offered to me, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So usually this is done especially in the beginning stage of the process of devotional service. Ultimately, the whole material world is in Maya, and therefore they have to be properly situated according to the occupation that they supposed to do, being prescribed by the spiritual master and the Shastra, according to the qualities and nature that they acquired. Then devotional service can be performed following this Varnashram Dharma. But this is still material though. That's why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not accepting this. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says again, Eho baya agi kahe kaara. This is also external. Please proceed and speak further on this matter. And then Ramananda Roy replies, to give up one's occupational duties in the Varnashram system is the essence of perfection. No, one is giving up one's occupational duties. Not giving it up, but acting in such a way that to renounce, ultimately transcend all of these material activities and renounce, to come to the platform of renunciation. Then Ramananda Roy continues, occupational duties are described in the religious scriptures. If one analyzes them, he can fully understand their qualities and faults, and then give them up completely to render service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such a person is considered a first-class man. Because ultimately, Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarvadharmam parityajya mam ekam saranam braja. Give up all your so-called occupational duties, or so-called religious and occupational duties. And he says, just come to me, surrender unto me, take shelter of me. Do not worry, I will protect you. So ultimately, one has to give them up. Just surrender. Then the highest now is a surrender. This is a gradual progression of how one can attain the goal of life. And then after hearing Ramananda Roy speaking in this way, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again rejected his statement, and he said, go ahead and say something more. And in the purport, Ramananda Roy then replied, devotional service mixed with empiric knowledge is the essence of perfection. Now it's mixed. Devotional service is still mixed with empiric knowledge. That means still this is not the highest. If you remember the topmost Uttama Bhakti, Anya Bilasita Sunyam Jnana Karmadi Anabhitam Anukulyena Krishnanum Shilanam Bhaktir Uttama. This is according to Rupa Goswami. Then the next text, Ramananda Roy, according to the Bhagavad Gita, one who is thus transcendentally situated at once realizes, this is the Brahma Bhuta platform now. This is a little bit more higher. One who is transcendentally situated, Brahma Bhuta platform, then he does not hunker. He is always joyful, becomes fully joyful. And he never laments for what he lost, and he never desires to have anything that he doesn't have. He's equally disposed towards every living entity, and in that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. That is the conclusion. The mix is not the goal. And then the next one, after hearing this, the Lord, as usual, rejected it, considering it to be external devotional service. He again asked Ramananda Roy to speak further, and Ramananda Roy replied, pure devotional service without any touch of speculative knowledge is the essence of perfection. So somehow Ramananda Roy is like not giving Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like the final immediately. It's just like a step by step. This is the gradual process of ultimately attaining the perfection of human form of life. We cannot immediately come to the platform of surrendering everything, free from any, or be devoid of material desires, mental speculation. It's not possible. We have to go through all of this. And so mixed with speculative knowledge is also external, and not within the jurisdiction of pure devotional service, as practiced even in Vaikunta. This is according to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Yes. Next. Ramananda Roy continued. Lord Brahma. Now, Lord Brahma. This is from the head of our Sampradaya, Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya. Lord Brahma says, my dear Lord, those devotees who have thrown away the impersonal conception of the absolute truth and have therefore abandoned discussing empiric philosophical truths should hear from self-realized devotees about your holy name, form, pastimes, and qualities. They should completely follow the principles of devotional service and remain free from illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, and animal slaughter. Surrendering themselves fully with body, words, and mind, they can live in any ashram or social status. Indeed, you are conquered by such persons, although you are unconquerable. This is one of the names of Lord Krishna. Ajita, but he can be conquered by his pure devotees' love. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is still, he says, speak more on the subject. He's still not satisfied. Then Ramananda Roy says, ecstatic love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the essence of all perfection. Now, this is the start now of how ultimately Srila Ramananda Roy will speak on the love of different levels of relationship between the Supreme Lord and his devotees, starting from Santaras, then Dasyaras, Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, and then Madhuryaras, different mellows, different relationships of the Supreme Lord towards everyone. He says that all of us, we all have this unique individual relationship with the Supreme Lord. And by following the process chalked out by the predecessor Acharyas and by our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanarvinda Swami Srila Prabhupada, by following sadhana, all of these rules and regulations, chanting minimum 16 rounds, performing practical devotional service, serving the Vaisnavas, taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. All of this is like a combined package that we'll be able to, if we follow this, we'll come to the platform also of loving relationship with the Supreme Lord. Come to the Suddha Bhakta. Sadhana Bhakti must be there. Yes, sadhana bhakti must be there. And there Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, then raga bhakti or spontaneous devotional service. And then later on, it'll go on up to bhava bhakti and then prema bhakti. And then we'll be able to understand our eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. As long as there is hunger and thirst within the stomach, varieties of food and drink make one feel very happy. Similarly, when the Lord is worshipped with pure love, the various activities performed in the course of that worship awaken transcendental bliss in the heart of the devotee. This is from Padjavali 13 and 14. Pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness cannot be had even by pious activity in hundreds and thousands of lives. It can be attained only by paying one price, that is intense greed, to obtain it. If it is available somewhere, one must purchase it without delay. So this is the price that we have to pay in order to attain pure loving devotional service. Spontaneous action is like flowing of the rivers into the ocean. Nothing can stop. But we have to do it because this is a science. There is no shortcut to this. The Uttama Bhaktas, they also follow all of this, but they do it spontaneously. But for us, we have to do it in practice. It's not that we can, it's like Rupa Goswami gave an example. It's like it is natural for a child to walk, but then the child has to learn first how to crawl, and then slowly, one step at a time, the child will start to walk. Even in the beginning, with the help of some cradle or some round thing around the body to balance. And then ultimately, the child will learn how to walk, and when he learns how to walk, ultimately he will run very fast. So similarly, the beginning of devotional service is like this. Ultimately, when one comes to the platform of pure loving devotional service, then his love will be spontaneous. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I want to hear more. He says, that is all right, but if you know more, please tell me. He's not even satisfied with what is spontaneous love. And then he started to mention about, yes, different levels or different degrees or different kinds of relationship between the Lord and his devotees, starting with Santaras, Santaras, neutrality. Of course, in devotional service, we have to understand that the Supreme Lord is a Supreme Master and we are His servants. Following the process of the sadhana bhakti, especially chanting the holy name of the Lord, going to places of pilgrimages, holy dham, then one will be able to develop this mood of serving the Supreme Lord. Just by serving you constantly, one is freed from all material desires and is completely pacified. When shall I engage as your permanent eternal servant and always feel joyful to have such a perfect master? I was hearing in Srila Prabhupada's class also that in all of the relationships, our mood of service is always there. Even though in the Santaraj neutrality, there's not much of what you may say, the fully developed relationship. In Dasyaras, yes, it's like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Krishna, they have assistants serving them. And then in the Sakyaras or the mood of fraternal, that means mood of friendship, the Sakas, the Vashyasas, their mood is that they think that they are equal with Lord Krishna. Sometimes they will even climb on the shoulder, right on the shoulder of Krishna and Balaram. Whoever will be defeated, they will carry the others who are victorious in games. And in the Vatsalya mood, they think that they are superior because they're in the protective mood. They want to protect Krishna, just like Mother Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj. Their mood is that, oh, without me, who will protect my child? I am the one who should protect. I am the one who will protect. And in the highest, topmost, as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also has concluded, that the highest level of devotional service is that of the mood of the gopis who fully surrender everything without thinking of anything that can stop us. Even their family, even they break the moral values, any conditions at all. They're the epitome of one who gave up everything to please and serve Lord Krishna. And that is the highest perfection. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that we should follow in their footsteps. This is the mood of the gopis. That is the topmost. So it goes on and on. Santaraj is not happy, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Dasharaj, he says, no, go on. Now it's in parental. He says, loving service of the Lord in the parental relationship is the highest perfectional stage. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was saying, no, you can tell more. He's still not satisfied, even though Ramananda Roy was explaining the mood of Mother Yasoda and Nanda Maharaj. And he says, yeah, your statements are certainly getting better and better, one after the other. But surpassing all of them is another transcendental mellow, and you can speak of that as the most sublime. Even though he knows, this is the mood of the Supreme Lord. He wanted to have his devotees to be more, in a sense, more to be in the front, to be more prominent, to be more glorious than himself. A reciprocal. He says, in the heart of the devotees is the Lord, and in the heart of the Lord are his devotees. So the devotees, they want to glorify the Supreme Lord. But the Lord, in reciprocation, he wants the devotees to be more glorified than himself. That's why in this conversation between Ramananda Roy and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wanted to emphasize that his devotees are more glorious than him by explaining all of this. Even though later on, Ramananda Roy says, actually you know all of them, but you're just making me to speak about it, even though you know all of this already. After this, his conjugal attachment for Krishna is the topmost position in love of Godhead. So we're just going to read one more. And because it becomes more and more intimate, becomes more and more, and we can discuss this some other time, or you can read it on your own. It can be discussed in a proper perspective. It's like here in Krishna Balaram Mandir, we're in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam now, chapter 16. So we're getting closer and closer. I mean, it'll take few more months, but then it'll come to now it's just the cowherd boys and Lord Krishna, the pastimes. But then later on, it'll be Lord Krishna with the gopis. So what shall we do then? I was asking them because they chose to go beyond where Srila Prabhupada had commented, the 13th chapter of the 10th canto. Because it becomes more and more intimate, and Prabhupada also warned us that some of these topics are so intricate, so intimate, so deep, that it should not be discussed in public. That doesn't mean we should not discuss it, but we should discuss it in a proper perspective. And the speaker must be qualified to speak. And also the listeners must be also qualified, just like what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did with these different conversations. But it is in the books of Srila Prabhupada, it is revealed for us so that we can also study them and go dive deeply upon them. But it's better that we hear it from very exalted personalities, those who are very advanced and those who are realized. Then we can see, we see the Lord not through our eyes at the moment. We're seeing the Lord through our ears. Huh? We appreciate the deity form of the Supreme Lord because we understood, based from the description of the scriptures, like Ramananda Roy explaining to, later on, he explains about the glories of the gopis, especially of Radharani. He can explain. Ramananda Roy is so exalted that, you know, he would be like the director, or he would write a play, and all the characters are played by young girls, virgin girls, and he would dress them, and he will not be affected. You know, the costumes, he will dress them, you know, but he will not be affected. But who will, you know, who is not an ordinary person who will not be affected by this? But Ramananda Roy is so exalted. He is beyond the bodily concept. He is an Uttama Bhakta. That for him it doesn't, you know, he's not affected. So, in any case, I'll just read this one last verse. Okay, this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, chapter 47, text 60. When Lord Shri Krishna was dancing with the gopis in the Rasa Leela, the gopis were embraced around the neck by the Lord's arms. This transcendental favor was never bestowed upon the goddess of fortune or the other consorts in the spiritual world, nor was such a thing ever imagined by the most beautiful girls in the heavenly planets, girls whose bodily luster and aroma resemble the beauty and fragrance of lotus flowers, and what to speak of worldly women, who may be very, very beautiful according to material estimation. So this is spoken by Uddhava when he visited Vrindavan to deliver a message from Krishna to the gopis. Hare Krishna. I think we should stop here. We'll go more and more deep if you like. But I already passed 1 hour, and my time is like already 8:06. If you wish, we can still keep reading and explain a little bit more, but it becomes more intricate. And maybe it can be discussed some other time, or you can read it on your own. What do you think, my dear sirs?
Hi, Krishna Maharaj. This Maharaj, like this, what you gave is very essential aspects, like, especially for the sadhakas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains that Rastani Sthita Shruti-gatam Tanuan Manobir, that giving up the mental speculation and hearing from pure devotees. So we also are very fortunate to hear from you today, like about the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai. So it's nice, Maharaj.
This can be taken into too many parts. Actually, we just like zip through. But we had a glimpse. We had a glimpse of how this is developing. You know, slowly by slow, gradual. Just like Prabhupada says, pure devotional service is a gradual process. Attaining pure devotional service is a gradual process. We should not hurry things up. As much as possible, we want to attain it in this lifetime, but we have to be attentive, we have to be careful, and especially in the association of the devotees, we can get so much strength, enthusiasm, and inspiration that we can go on in spite of so many troubles and hurdles and problems. Nothing can stop a person from attaining pure devotional service. Irregardless of the material, no material things can be an obstacle. It's only our eagerness to attain bhakti that we can become successful, but we cannot attain it by on our own. We can attain it through Zoom. we, we, we cannot travel right now, right? But maybe after some time we can travel and we can see each other also. I can visit you in Bangalore.
Thank
For
you very
sure.
much, Maharaj.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
Yeah, COVID is almost gone, but now there is war. Oh, then after war, what's gonna be next? You know, the propaganda in this material world never stops. All of these calamities, but we should always be determined. It's like Gandhari; she's very determined to help her husband, help her sons to be straightened up, and Vidura help. So I was just reading yesterday, we should all become like Viduras. There's so many Dhritarashtras out there. So by being a Vidura, then also being a preacher, it makes us strong. You understand? We have to tell this to others. Be eager to tell this to others, this science of Krishna consciousness. Because the more we tell others, and the more also we become strong within our determination. So I'm really glad, I'm very happy that you are all having this program of different speakers and hearing from many of our devotees. I don't think Zoom or this kind of online Sangha will never stop, even COVID is finished or anything, because this is the future now. This is the future. It'll continue on. I'm glad though that you have asked me to have your. It's a privilege for me to have your association even in this matter. So I'd like to thank you all. Is there any question?
Maharaj, it's our privilege, Maharaj. It's and your blessings that you have given a word that you will come to Bangalore. That is also our great privilege, Maharaj.
We'll plan some other time. Okay.
Yes, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Definitely. Are there any questions or any points before we close this meeting? You can raise your hands or you can type. No question?
Hare Krishna. So devotees can share any point that you liked or
Any, yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Haribol.
So I have one takeaway from your class, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Maharaj.
So one question I had was like, Prabhu was not accepting the darshan of or allowing the darshan of Maharaj, but he actually had the meeting with Ramanand Rai. So I was wondering, like, suddenly this class, this question, but you nicely clarified that it was instruction from Sarva Bhattacharya. Because of that, he had to take this up. So this clarification I got today. So thank you so much. That takeaway.
Yes. And because Visakha, that's Visakha. So Krishna wants it to see Visakha. Yes. Ramananda Rai. Okay.
Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Your
Maharaj. For
valuable time to us. Thank you.
Hope to see you again sometime.
Yes, Maharaj.
Eagerly waiting,
Eagerly.
Eagerly waiting.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
His Holiness Bhakti Anugraha Janardan Swami Maharaj.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Nanda ki jai. Gauranga.
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 Nityananda.
Gauranga.
Haribo.